Welcome to another great episode of Power Alphas. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sabby Piscitelli, and as always, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fiance, Mandy Saccomanno, better known as Mandy Rose. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing great. Welcome, everyone, to another episode. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, the weather hasn't been that good. I know in the whole country the weather hasn't really been that good.
Oh,
but
yeah,
Florida,
I got stuck.
Yeah, you got stuck.
I got stuck in Houston. Oof. And then had food poisoning.
Oh.
Lovely. I have to say, the start of the new year for me has not been great when it comes to like getting sick.
It's funny, you never get sick, but you got sick twice already in 2024. We're only, 18 days in?
Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah, it just
and
happens.
Whatever I had, guys, I think it's going around or whatever it was, or maybe a little virus or food poisoning, but it knocked me off my ass. That shit was so bad. No pun intended.
You actually, to be honest with you, I've actually never seen you sleep all day.
I couldn't move. I was like...
You slept all day.
Well, first of all, it takes all the energy out of you. So obviously, you know, when that's going on, I don't have to get too detailed. But it was after we had Daria's bachelorette party, as you guys seen, the double bachelorette in Scottsdale. And I wasn't the only one, some girls had the same thing. So it could have been something we ate.
Yeah, it was probably something you ate then.
We also, you know, we're all like, we don't party like that ever, like anymore. So like all of us were like really struggling to get out and like stay out. Like you should have seen us at the club. We were like, we could do this. Come on, let's do it. And we were really happy that we did because it was a lot of fun. But maybe I just can't do that anymore. I got so like, I don't know, ahead of myself.
I think it's a combination of that.
Yeah.
Also the combination of going to the West Coast. You know, even though Arizona, Scottsdale, it's a different time frame.
Stuck in the airport for like 8 hours.
Then you were stuck in the airport for 8 hours. And then you were throwing up everywhere. And you cleared your whole system out. And so you had to sleep all day, which I know you had no energy. And I'll tell you something, Mandy is moody when she is sick, guys. Okay, so don't ever hang out with Amanda when she's sick because you know you cussed out.
Well, you know what it is.
Reason.
I was getting annoyed because I didn't have any energy, and then like I was starting to feel better, but then I'm like I can't really work out, and when I can't like work out or do anything,
that's
like
frustrating.
It's enough. Like I'm okay to like rest, and because we all need our rest, but then like when Wednesday hit, I was like, okay.
Well, it's kind of like we preach on this thing. It's our routine.
Yeah.
Our routine is our therapy. Our therapy is taken away, and we're all discombobulated. And then, you know, you have a little bit of an attitude, though. You like a little like attitude-ish.
Well, you know what? If you were like,
oh, please,
you would be the same way. So
no, I know.
Hopefully nobody gets this virus thingy. But so let's address the elephant in the room. We obviously had a little clip go viral this last week on Instagram and TikTok, and we find it very funny and we've been laughing at these comments. Some of them are outrageous and it comes along with the territory. We get it. But we find it really funny that clip kind of created such an uproar, and people are just, I mean, it's like all these different places. We had like our neighbor like say that they watched it, which we didn't even know she was like watching our podcast. So I think it's like definitely going a little viral. What do you think, babe?
You know, it's so many comments on that. I think the clip went viral because of society, of the dynamic of people think like the men got to make all the income and the women, you know, kind of sit home, the old school kind of tradition kind of thing. So I think people, when that was addressed right away, I think everybody wants to listen to the content and the answers that come out. Also, one thing that intrigued me, though, is like people actually start to argue with each other.
Oh, I love the arguments.
Like, I don't understand why argue with each other, though. Like, don't get that deep into something that people have a comment on or an opinion on.
They
take it so serious. So, you know, for me, you know, both of us, but I've been kind of in that social media being talked about probably since high school, being a high school star in all the sports and then playing in college and having the privilege of playing NFL. And you always have people talking about you. Always people have their opinion about you. Mm-hmm. And you get to a point where, you know, maybe when you're young, it really starts to bother you, but I don't get into that as much anymore. And I kind of laugh at some of the comments. But the one thing I do want to address really quick, and I mean this from my heart because I've learned this as I've gotten older. I see so much negativity and so much hatred on people's comments. And all you're doing when you make those comments is showing the world a reflection of how unhappy you are with yourself and who you are as a human being, a woman or a man. And I promise you this, you will never achieve what you want to achieve, and you will never become who you want to become if you continue to put out negative energy, negative comments for reactions or whatever you put it out to. And for me, I think people that are listening to this need to really just hone in for a second, because something I've learned at a young age, actually not even that young, it was like maybe in the middle of my career in NFL, a very, very, very successful man said something to me worth a couple $100 million. He said to me, he goes, Sabby, wish success upon everybody and do whatever you can to help them achieve it. And he walked away from me. I was in the gym, actually, and I remember sitting there, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is a dog-eat-dog world. Like, no, I gotta be the best in football. I gotta do whatever I have to do. No, like, that resonated with me, because for me as a man, that changed my whole perspective on life, because the energy you give is the energy you get back. Mm-hmm. So I think when I was reading these comments, I was just kind of disturbed about not what they were saying, because I laugh, because I really have nothing to prove to anybody. You have nothing to prove to anybody. I really don't care what you say about me. I'm so extremely grateful that my fiance makes incredible money. I was blessed to make incredible money. I've been blessed not to have to worry about money since I was 23. So for me, it doesn't matter how people want to perceive you. They can say whatever they want. I just don't like that people think it's cool to say these negative comments. It's just not a good look.
I think a big part of it is people that make those comments. Like, I agree with you that they might be insecure with something that they're dealing with, and they feel like it's their sense of control or power that they can sit there, whether it's behind a computer desk or wherever it may be, in their mother's basement, whatever it is, they think that they can get away with it because they're not face to face with someone. I saw something recently from a good friend of mine back home, and she wrote something because she was getting a lot of hate online, and she said something like, I kind of wish there was like this thing, because obviously technology these days, like, where you make a mean comment about someone and all of a sudden your address pops up or something, and it's like geolocation, and that you can go to their house and be like, that's funny, why don't you say what you just said to my face, and see if they say it, because obviously, we know 99% of them won't. So I think that's a big part of it, and I think they feel like they have some sort of power into putting their 2 cents in. And regardless, I do think your answer was spot on. And obviously, if you guys continue to watch the whole episode, Sabby dives into financial literacy and how smart he was with his money, and a bunch of other things in there as well. But it doesn't matter what you said or how you say it, how you said it, because at the end of the day, someone's always going to have something to say about it.
Opinion, absolutely.
Everyone has their opinion. And, I've been on social media for a very long time and have had a big platform for a while. And you just have to accept the fact that you're going to have these people. We find it funny. We take it with a grain of salt. We don't sit home and read these comments, because why would we? I mean, if we're going to get a good laugh, we will for sure. And I do love the ones that go back and forth, because I think it's hilarious. But I will say that I think it's just, I've dealt with it for so long. I mean, the shaming on the slut shaming, the body shaming, it's just so messed up to someone's psychological. Like, I know people that have deleted their social media because they can't take it anymore. And it's sad, because it's like that person just doesn't want to see it. They can't look at it anymore. Like, Twitter's really bad, especially in the wrestling world. And a lot of my friends have talked about it, but it's like, no matter what you do, it doesn't matter, because they're going to shit on it regardless. There's a lot of good people out there, obviously. There's a lot of people that
There was a lot of good comments that we read too. I didn't read all of them, but I got the gist of a lot of it. But
so I just think it comes along with the territory. But I do think it's like a big part of what you said about people's own insecurities. Like, you talking shit about someone else or making fun of them or whatever it may be, like, you got your own issues, and you should probably work on that.
And you're spot on, babe. And I guess, like, for me, I love the comments. I love the interactions. I love it all. I'm just trying to speak a little knowledge from experience, because I'm not afraid to even admit this. But before, when I was playing in the NFL, I was playing 07 to 2012. So obviously Instagram wasn't really around. Twitter wasn't around. But social media was always prevalent, right? Google, Yahoo, whatever it was. I actually remember when I was 25 years old, I went into 2009 season with a lot of hype from Tampa Bay. I had the banner on the stadium. I had the number 2 jersey seller. I had the GM call me in the office and say, Sabby, we want to make you the face of the defense. So I was very, very excited for 09. Long story short, a lot of eyes, a lot of cameras, a lot of judgment on me all the time, every single time I stepped on the field. And when you're winning, it's cool. It's good, right? It's good. But when you start losing, it gets bad because everyone has an opinion. And I made the mistake by reading everybody's opinion because opinion don't mean nothing, right? And I'm not afraid to admit it. We were 0-4 in 2009. I was getting a lot of blame, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I did lose a little bit of confidence. But I look back now, and I'm like, wow, like that was stupid of me because I allowed other people's comments or insecurities or anger kind of deflect me. And the reason that's why I say the message today is like, hating doesn't get you anywhere because you always want to inspire to be better as a person. So you hating on somebody's going to actually look at you at one point and be like, wow, you are really unhappy with yourself. And you actually saw some of the comments, people who made comments about it.
Yeah.
And the best line I've ever said, and I'll end it with this, that I've ever heard is, you'll never hear anybody talking shit about you that's doing better than you. Remember that. So, but again, we love it. We love the comments. We love the interaction. I just want to tell people out there, it's the negative comments that's not really getting you far. Even if you think it or feel it, or if you think it's true, you don't need to say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also don't believe everything you see or hear on the internet.
Absolutely.
Like, you go Googling things.
Google's so off.
Yeah, but to your point back on when you went through that, I think it's a good thing in a sense. You did go through that at a young age because I think it taught you how to not go through that again in your older age or in your 30s or whatever 100%. It may be, because I think you realize that you let it affect you a little bit, and then you sat there and you were like, this is something that I'll never let affect me again because it wasn't worth it and it had no correlation with anything that I was doing at the moment or affected my, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it almost teaches you. And I feel like we all go through that, especially if you're in the public eye. And that's why we say when it comes along with the territory, that's what it is. And this podcast does the same thing. There's going to be a lot of haters out there. So you know what? Whatever.
And use it as motivation. I used that motivation for a long time. I actually remember some of my biggest success in the athletic world was because somebody told me I couldn't do something, or somebody told me I wasn't going to be good enough, or somebody told me there's no way you can accomplish that. So use that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying, I just think like this platform, especially this podcast, me and you started this podcast to kind of just interact, explain, help, share our experiences, share our failures, share our success. So I hope, I really hope that this podcast does help some individuals, and I hope that they enjoy it. And as we continue to get guests, I hope they hear their stories and can relate to it,
Yeah, which brings me to a point where we can kind of talk about a little bit. I think it's 2024, and I think it's safe to say that, like, you brought it up earlier, we're kind of out of that area of, like, the woman is in the kitchen and the man's making all the money, or the man's out working, or whatever it may be. Like, to be honest, now 2024, like, if there's not dual income, it's very, very hard to survive in today's day and age. Would you agree?
You are 100%. I've actually said, it's actually more detrimental to be single these days when it comes to the financial part of lifestyles.
Right.
I think it's actually extremely sad that in South Florida, it is extremely hard to even buy a house right now.
Yeah.
For people that even middle class. Oh yeah. Let's say you're making $100,000 a year, which is solid living, but it's like you can't even buy a house.
No.
And it's like for me, it's like if that. To me, that's how the time has changed. Yep. And that's why you hear these women out here that say, I want to find a sugar daddy, or I want to find someone to support me. I want to be a stay-home mom. I hate to burst your bubble, but that reality is not really reality anymore. And that's why I think you have to be motivated, self-motivated to make your own money, be successful, and then you'll attract that same sort of motivational person. So if you have a female like yourself who's very driven, very motivated, always working hard, very humble, always looking to grow, you meet a man like me, and I met a woman like you because we have the same mindset. And that's what out there, when you see people, like you said, I actually think this economy is becoming, inflation has become so high that you're right, you do need a dual income.
You do. And I mean, I think I was reading something the other day. Miami is top 5 most expensive places to live, which is crazy. Like, I mean,
I thought it'd be less than, I thought it'd be like top 3.
Well, it might be top 3. I was looking at like a 5 countdown, so it might be top 3. But regardless, like that's so insane. Like, and it's so hard. But my point earlier too is like, I think that clip created like an uprise in people talking is because, you know, all of a sudden they see a woman that does well. And I really, and I wrote this, I really admire that I have a man that's so successful, but so supportive, but also so confident that can sit there and be like happy for his woman to be making a lot of money. You know, I know a lot of people out there still that are stuck, you know, in old, or maybe it's a culture thing, but they don't want their woman to make money, or they don't want their woman to be successful or to be out there because they're controlling. They want to control that woman, and vice versa. There could be, you know, men that are women that are like that too. But like, to me, that's just like, I mean, that's just not today's society. Like, I think we need to like get past that. But I mean, I think it is a culture thing as well sometimes. But like the way I was raised, you know, my mom and dad both worked. But I will say my dad is kind of old school Italian conservative side. And I think growing up, it was that little bit of like, oh, you know, the woman is like in the kitchen, and the man is working all day, comes home, like he should have food on the table. Not saying that was really my household, but I think that was kind of like derived in us a little bit because of society when we were growing up. And maybe it was from like my grandparents or great grandparents or whatever it may be. And I think you can adjust to that. You can also agree to that with like your grandparents, your dad's side. Like, and I just feel like that's not really the case anymore. And I think if there's 2 people that are also bringing in an income, like it should be very split. And I think you do a great job. I actually just brought you up over the weekend to the girls, like how domesticated you are. Like a man that's domesticated is such a great thing, because if we're both a team and we both make great money, like why should one person do more than the other? Like Sabby does his own laundry, although he's a pain in my ass. He freaking puts the clothes in the wash machine and then expects me to fold them sometimes because he lets them stay in the dryer too long. But anyway, but like you do so many of those things that I think is so great that like some men don't think that they should be doing that.
You know, wow, that's so spot on, everything you just said, and I don't even know where to start. I think the first thing you said was men are intimidated by a woman who is more successful than them. And I think that comes down strictly to an ego, to a confidence, to a self belief in themselves that they're just not secure with themselves. And I think when you get to a point as a man, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, I've done everything I can do to better myself every single day of my life. And, you know, I am so extremely proud of you, and I'm so supportive of you because I've had the privilege to be successful. I've had the privilege to make money. So I would love to see and help other people make money. And at the end of the day, it's the insecurities that men have to deal with, that they get intimidated by a powerful woman. Because I think it's more of a controlling thing, because they're afraid, oh, what if that woman leaves me? What if they find somebody else? What if and that's, to me, kind of starts with themselves as a man.
100%.
And what you said about the household, you are a team.
Yeah.
And I think a team like that, if you develop a household like that, that will keep you together, because there will be no more resentment. There'll be no more, oh, I'm doing too much, you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you are a team. And I saw it growing up. Like, my dad was old school Italian, yes, absolutely. But my parents did a tremendous job. They had a landscaping business growing up, right? They were self-employed. My dad's job, took care of the crew, did all the physical work outside, right? All the physical work, did the crew, cut the lawns, made sure the crew was doing well, did the estimates, did all the cutting, did the cleanups. And then my mom worked at home and did all the office work, all the payroll, all the ledgers, all the bills, taxes. So they took care of a company, and they both had their roles. Meanwhile, my mom stayed at home and raised 3 kids.
Right.
And and I think my parents developed a great team, and I watched that happen. They were so always trying to help each other get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge in this society is when you find your significant other, make sure your significant other has the same motivation, same mindset, same drive, because if they don't, you will start to become resentment of that person.
Yeah.
And that's a big key.
And that's why you are good, because I've watched your parents too, and they are a good team. Like even in the kitchen, like your dad will be cooking or vice versa, and your mom, they'll be helping each other. And I think that's really important for young ones to see at a young age, as yourself did. And I feel like to see that, it's good because it is a team. And like, why should one person do more than the other? Because you made a really good point. When, one has too many drinks or one gets annoyed about something, that should go be brought up. Like, oh, well, I do this, and what do you, and then it's just hell.
It's a spiral
just
down.
Spiral
Yeah,
from there.
absolutely.
So I do think that's a great point. And I think that was just like a big, kind of take that I got from the clip as well, reading some of the comments of just like, I think people are just so used to a certain role for each female or male. And it's just, it's just not, it's 2024, right? So we've come a long way. So
Absolutely.
that was just a little segue I wanted to go. Rant over.
Well, it was a good clip, and I'm excited that people are very interested in something like that, and people are they engaged. It was very engaging. That clip, right?
Yeah, we're grateful that everyone was engaging, whether
and I
it
am
was
grateful.
good or bad.
I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for every comment. I really am. I am. Don't get that twisted. I'm really thankful for every comment, people listening. I hope they go to the podcast, and I hope they go to the podcast and actually listen to the whole answer, because you got to remember these clips are cut up, so they get bits and pieces, and sometimes they put it together, and they might not hear the whole story or might not get the whole message. So something like that. Excuse me. So
Excuse you.
something like that is, I think, it's exciting, because I think we started this podcast out of the sole purpose of just helping, right? Interacting, hearing stories, positive energy. How can we become better every single day?
Yep.
It's always you versus you, but when you're a couple, we're a powerhouse. And I feel like if we don't grow together, we won't be together. That's it.
Very true.
If we don't grow together, you will not be together. And that's just a fact of a relationship.
Yeah.
So continue to grow together. And I think finances as a couple is a huge part of it, because push each other, motivate each other, do everything together, try to grow together, because that's where your relationship will grow and get better physically, sexually, every aspect of it.
Love it. Speaking of that, we talk about, and one time we did talk about this in another episode, but of keeping it spicy in the bedroom. Spicy. We like spicy. And you just kind of segued into that. So, babe, some other questions that I was getting, people were asking, because you said this on an episode, they said they wanted to know a little more detail about what you mean by our relationship has gotten better throughout the years. And we kind of touched on this a little bit, the both of us, but they kind of wanted a little more detail, a little more input so that they can work on that in their own relationship. What could you give them? I love putting them on the spot. It's my new favorite thing, by the way.
You should come out with these questions.
Yeah.
So the question is, how did you want me to break down what I meant by our relationship has got even more spicy or better?
More spicy, extra spicy.
Extra spicy?
Yes. And you can be, you can be a little general. You don't have to be super specific, but
Keep
I know
it PG.
I know they want the nitty gritty out there.
Keep it PG.
But in a sense of, some things that maybe we do that keep it spicy, or some things that, I don't know.
I believe that keeping that chemistry, that physical attraction is a job. I think it's a part of a routine, right? I think we have date night every Friday night, right? We love our date night. And that date night, no, she's laughing, but I can't. She's laughing. We can't go rated R here. But we set aside
What do we
time
do during date night?
we set aside time to make sure that we have a great night together.
Yes.
We have a great dinner together. We have a couple drinks because we never drink during the week. It's like I post on my Instagram sometimes. A nice glass of tequila Friday night is my go-to.
I try to get Sabby to have like 2 or 3 because then he gets really frisky.
I have 2. I usually have one before we leave for dinner as we're getting ready, and I usually have one at dinner.
Yeah. Responsible.
But again, back to the question is like we make a conscious effort to make sure we have a night where we could really just enjoy each other, put everything aside, have a great dinner.
Yep.
We both enjoy having great dinners. We'll have a couple of drinks. So then we come home and we really have a great sexual relationship that night. We explore. We explore. We explore a little bit, which is good.
It's always good to explore.
Explore new things. But I think it is important because as you get more comfortable, as you grow with your partner, I think it's important to change it up.
I think
listen to your partner as well.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Very, very good. Yeah, listen to your partner, switch it up sometimes. Just keep it spicy, but also like I think it's really important. Sabby and I, we don't have kids yet. So like I think all the people out there that do have kids, I think having that night out, date night, whatever it may be, is so important. And I do know this from some of my friends that are moms. Like you guys need to separate yourself from the children at least once a week. I mean, okay, once every 2 weeks would be nice too, because I know with kids it's hard. But like it's so.
No, I would still say once a week.
Well, we're gonna try our best. Obviously, that's our goal. But everyone, sometimes it just thinks life gets in the way. But I think it's so important because we get so caught up in just life and bringing the kids here, doing this for them and doing so many things for everyone else that like you got to stay true to your relationship. And like your mom always says.
My mom's got the saying.
Diane.
My mom says that you and your husband or you and your significant other is the trunk of the tree.
Yes.
And the kids are the branches of the tree. And we all know if that trunk of the tree dies, the branches die.
Yeah. And I love that.
Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to Diane Piscitelli.
My parents are 45 years married. And boy, they're going through some wars, but they're still married. But I think my mom always said that to me, great point. And, you do see, and again, it's common, right? We have kids and all your attention goes to the kids. But that's where I think problems really start to occur with the relationship with the husband and wife or at that point because you do neglect your significant other. And I know kids are a lot. So I think, again, you take a day, a dinner, a moment to say, we got to go back to us, strengthen us. Because if your relationship isn't strong, the kids will sense that eventually and then they will all suffer from it.
100%. And I don't know if my parents would actually really admit this, but because they just love their kids so much and they don't want to like put the blame on anyone, and it's no one's fault. Everyone has their own issues and whatnot. But like, I think a lot of things that my parents went through were like a lot to do with their kids. All of us, there's 3 boys, 1 girl, like things were always going on. My brothers weren't always the best growing up. There was, one was getting in trouble, one was doing this. So there's always things going on. So I think a lot of struggles that they had were fighting over, whether or not we should discipline them like this or like that. It just becomes very, very chaotic. And I think they might not admit that as much because they don't want to say that it was anyone else's fault, which it's not, everyone of their divorce or whatnot. There's a lot of other issues. But I think it's really important. And whenever your mom says that, it's like so spot on because it's so true. So
I'm laughing right now because we don't even have kids.
I know, we're like preaching over here.
We're trying to learn from maybe other people's experiences and mistakes. So I do think we're gonna have a huge culture shock
for
when we have our first child, especially the life we live right now. God willing, hopefully God bless us with a beautiful child. But it's when that moment comes, whenever God is implants that in our life, I will be excited. But I do think it's gonna be a change. But I hope we could take advice that we're talking about right now that we've over our parents, your parents, and something like that, and we can grow and like that. And even some of my friends, I have friends. I have. I'll give him. He was on the show, Evanson Bernard. He has 2 boys, and I call him. He's like, I feel like he lives at Disney World.
Oh my God, he's always at Disney.
Him and Michelle always at
they're
Disney
always
World,
there.
and I laugh at him. I'm like, bro, did you buy like a timeshare in Disney World? Like,
Yeah.
And he makes a joke. He's like, Sab. And he always laughs. He goes, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. He goes, trust me. He goes, Disney World's great because they entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And I've heard that so many times. And it's like, I know it's going to be a culture shock for me and you, but it's something that, those are the struggles that those are the obstacles that I think you have to continue to hit head on to continue to grow your relationship.
Yeah, and you learn as you go. They don't give you a manual, obviously, when you leave that hospital after you just had a baby. You're on your own.
I know.
Figure it out.
That's what my buddy John said. My buddy John said, Sab, it's crazy because they literally hand you this baby and they say, all right, there's the door.
Have fun.
Like there's no rule book, there's no handbook, there's no nothing. So for me, it's going to be an experience that I'm excited for when it comes.
Definitely. So playoffs, babe. What's going on with playoffs right now? I can't say that I know much, but I've been following a little bit. So you can take the lead for this one.
Well, yeah, this is actually my favorite time of the year. I love playoff football. I think it's the most entertaining sport there is in general, but playoffs is just an extra intensity. And I think right now I even made a joke. I said this weekend I'm not moving. We got 4 games, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. And I will be watching every game, and I love it. It's just sad to me because there's a couple teams that just disappoint, and I kind of start to feel bad for them. But, the Dallas Cowboys, what a disappointment. Everyone loves them, and I think it's like America's team. They still talk about them, and every year they kind of do the same thing. They look really good in the regular season. They beat up on the teams that are mediocre, and they struggle with the teams that are good, and then they get to the playoffs, and they just lay an egg. They flop. And to me, that was a big surprise. Also, a huge surprise was the Philadelphia Eagles. They started the season 10-1, and I think they were like 7. They lost last of 7 or 8 games, or 6 out of 7 games. And when I watched the game on Monday, I could tell you this. I don't know this for a fact, but there was an internal problem. There was a problem in the locker room. There was a problem with the coaches. There was a problem with GM, because I'll tell you something. That team crumbled, and they fell apart. And that team on Monday night when I was watching against Tampa Bay, they didn't want to tackle nobody. They didn't want to be there. There was fighting, finger pointing. And I know losing in the NFL is very frustrating. I was part of it. I was part of an 0-8 season at one point. I think we ended up 3-13. It is one of the worst experiences of your life when you're losing, because everyone starts pointing fingers. But that, to me, what happened to Philadelphia Eagles is a shame, because that team is very talented. But it goes to show you that the NFL it's very hard to win, and people do not realize that. And people think they take it for granted when their team wins, and they think, oh, we're going to win. And it's not, because in NFL, any team can beat any given team on any day. I'm telling you right now.
And you said this a few episodes back about how, how does it look right now? It's like you can't go by right now, because when playoffs come, you say it's always it's just really, you never know.
The one thing too is that Coach Gruden used to always preach, when I had the privilege to play for Coach Gruden for a couple of years. He used to we had 16 games. He used to break it up on the board in 4 quarters. He goes, all right, the first 4 games, the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and et cetera. And you always want to be playing your best football going into December, because going into December, then you kind of lead into the playoffs, because momentum is everything in football. Momentum is everything. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a perfect example. 10-1, no momentum, got their butts kicked first round. You always want to play your best football. So the goal is to lead up and play your best football in December. And I think these general fans get all mad. They lose a couple games in September, October, and they think the season's over. No, Buffalo Bills is a perfect example of, they started a rocky start. They're playing their best football. I actually think Buffalo Bills is going to be the sleeper of this playoffs. I think they're going to make it. I really do think the Bills have a chance. I think they're going to beat Kansas City this weekend. I do worry about Andy Reid, because he's the best coach in the NFL right now, and he can outcoach you. So I hope that doesn't happen. But, I'm excited.
So who you got?
I'm excited. You know what? I got to give a shout out to your best friend real quick, Daria, because I love you, girl. But you're getting married on Super Bowl weekend.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? What does this have to do
You're
with
getting married on Super Bowl weekend.
She's getting married on Saturday, though. And
Yeah,
it's Super Bowl
weekend, and you don't get married on Super Bowl weekend.
She doesn't care, because she doesn't watch Super Bowl.
She doesn't care, but congratulations to her, by the way. Who do I have? Ooh, wow. Who do I have? I mean, the book says right now everyone would pick Baltimore versus San Francisco in the Super Bowl. That's what the book would say. That's what all the records would say. I think San Francisco will make it from the NFC. My sleeper. I would want to say Baltimore. And I would like to see Baltimore too, but I think my sleeper is going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. All right.
Buffalo Bills. You heard it right now. I think Buffalo Bills make the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Against 49ers.
That's my Super Bowl prediction.
Uh-huh. All right. All right. A couple things, guys. We're almost there. 5K subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, let's go.
So
let's go.
We're shooting for 5K soon. So we're gonna do a little fun little game. The person that gets us there the fastest, I'll be checking it, don't you worry. I'm going to be sending a personalized video to. So help us get to 5K. We obviously been doing the podcast for a little while now. We're starting our groove. We're learning a lot. So we appreciate all the feedback, whatever you guys have in the comment section. Ask your questions. Tell us what you want to hear, what you don't like to hear, all of that good stuff. And also, we're going to do a little fan email thingy. If you email poweralphaspodcast@gmail.com, each week we're going to have a fan submitted email, and I'm going to answer the questions on the next show, or just like read out the email and kind of shout out the person or whatever it may be on a topic or question or whatever. So send us an email. You'll get a shout out, and we love to hear your feedback. And we thank you guys for listening. And let's get to 5K.
What's that email again?
Oh, Power Alphas. Let me say it one more time. poweralphaspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys for joining another amazing episode. And who do we got next coming on, babe? Special guest?
We got some special guests. Oh, there it is, right there on the screen. I love it.
Trey, we were going to bring today.
Trey. It's my dog's birthday today.
Turned 4 today.
Trey is 4 today.
He would sit right here like a statue.
He would sit right here. Oh, actually, I got a funny story. Let's tell the story I got.
Tell the story.
Oh, my gosh.
This is really good, actually.
So, Trey is a 140-pound Corso, okay? Beautiful Italian Mastiff. He's not allowed in our master bedroom in our house in Florida. Okay, we kind of messed up when we bought the house in New York a couple months ago. We let him in the master bedroom. So
bad idea.
He doesn't relate that he can't come in the one down here because he wants to come in now. So long story short, sometimes at night he'll just cry by our door, and his cry is piercing, and the problem is our little dog sleeps in the bed with us, which is horrible. Don't ever do this, but sleeps in the bed with us. And when she hears it, she starts barking. So whatever. So sometimes he'll just start doing it. Sometimes he needs to go outside. Sometimes he just wants attention. So I've been putting him in the garage sometimes. I have AC in the garage. I have a beautiful AC. I got his bed, but I put him in the garage. He don't like the garage. The other night, Mandy woke up and she had the food poisoning. We talked about it earlier.
I was waking up every hour.
Yeah, but I heard you throwing up about 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock I started.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I go in the bathroom. I'm holding her hair like a good fiance does.
Yeah, see?
I'm holding her hair, trying to make sure it's good. So I was going to go to the bathroom. I was going to go to the kitchen to get you some water.
Yeah.
And as you walk out of our master bedroom, you have to walk by our front doors to go to the kitchen. And we have the front doors where it's like if there's a light outside at night, you see like silhouettes out the door. You can't see through. It's like fuzzy glass, but it's like silhouettes. I dead stopped in my tracks and I looked to the front door, and there is a statue. Well, it looked like a statue. My dog is sitting right in front of my door on our porch, but like sitting perfectly with his ears. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, how the F did this dog get outside the house? Now it's 5 a.m. He was trying to open the garage door, open the door to the garage of the house. He opened the garage door, and he hit the garage door with his paw. The garage opens up. We went back in the Ring camera and looked. Garage door opens up. He just walks out the garage all nonchalant and sits on our front porch waiting for me to wake up.
The best is the poor thing was like definitely trying to get our attention, but like he was like, well, what do I do? We watched him. He walked from the garage to the door, back and forth, and then he's like sitting there. Finally, we let him in. He's just like, God damn, I was waiting for you guys to let me in. What are you doing?
The point is,
so
thank
cute.
God he's so trained. He didn't run away, Thank God no Amazon packages came at like
Oh my
5 in the morning, because that
gosh.
would have been really bad.
Amazon guy.
Amazon
Sorry.
guy would have been no good. But that's today's his birthday. That was my birthday. His birthday story for Trey. Well, listen, guys, thank you for joining us again. We wanted to really get these first couple podcasts of the new year with Mandy and I, and just kind of go and just talk about your guys' questions, talk about life, talk about situations. So we love
staying accountable for your resolutions.
Please make sure you stay accountable for your resolutions. And now we're going to, really start trying to get guests on the show, so you guys can hear other people's stories. But we also want to interact with the fans. We want to interact with you guys. We love that you made all those comments on our viral picture, that videos that went viral. We love all that. Keep that going. Let's be positive. Let's be appreciative. And God bless. And we'll see you guys soon.